Do everything for yourself. It's such a blessing when you can feed yourself, when uh, you can reason within yourself. It's a blessing, and I'm so grateful for everybody that is up and alive and moving about. People are getting off of work, going home to rest. People are getting ready for work, getting ready for school. Some people have the day off, wherever it is, whenever it is. We're grateful for this opportunity to come into your home and that you have decided to be a part of this group session, group therapy. I'm literally playing Israel Houghton, Ron, Tisha. Those who are listening, I do not own the rights to this music. Not going back. But I will tell you that this is the song of intentionality. I have purposed to continue to move forward. That is our direction. Hey, Pastor Joel, blessings to you. Those who are coming in, we thank God for everyone who are in our Zoom room as well as social media. I am really, really endeavoring to continue to push the message. I realize that there everybody who can't and won't get up this early. I'm thankful for those who are charting their day, who had the intentionality to put the alarm on and to focus on our mental hellness to wellness. Amen. And I say that because these are some real things that we're going through and have gone through. And so we have help today. We have some things, an interesting topic today that I want to introduce to some and present to others, dealing with the hypersensitive, what it means to be hypersensitive, and how close it is in nature and mentality and in the mind or the struggle that people have, including myself. Hey, Nation, hey, woman of God, that people have. Is it really dealing with narcissistical traits? Are they married? Are they close to each other in characteristics and dealings and how things go? Some of us may have never heard the word hypersensitive. And one of the things that gives it away is the word sensitive, because when you're sensitive in general, when that comes to mind, the word sensitive itself, it brings to mind of how something is should be treated and handled with care, and also very, very delicate, something that is easily alarmed or provoked or aroused, or when you have like for instance a light, a motion detector, light, anything like that, it ignites and it triggers just by movement, just by any level of movement. It doesn't take much. And unfortunately, there are undiagnosed traumas in people that we know or people that we're related to or even ourselves, that is hyper sensitive, that is extremely sensitive. It doesn't take much to trigger. It doesn't take much to bring a memory back. It doesn't take much to get happy, and it can go both ways. And because many times, one of the things that I like highlighting in our sessions is that when you are taking inventory of you, you want to know what and why stuff or it's person, place, or thing triggers you to the point where you are upset, you are angry, you are feeling abandoned, or whatever the feeling may be. It's important to be able to identify it and track it and put a name to it, or describe the mood that you're feeling, right? On the negative side. But so many times we do not highlight why this makes me happy, why this brings me peace, why this brings me comfort, why this brings me joy. I believe you should have both ends of that spectrum, right? I believe that you should have a good sense of why you like Oreo cookies, or why you like taking a ride on a Saturday through certain neighborhoods, why you like shopping, why you like this particular movie, why you like this particular person. What is it about him or her that brings you joy when they're around? So you should be able to identify every feeling to some degree, or pay attention to your feelings, right? Because it matters. It matters. How many agree with that? Would you agree with that, Ron, Aneza, Pastor Joel, Letitia? Would you agree that that is important? Because this is a part of you getting to know you. Many of us are entering into different seasons of our life. We've survived different moments, different circumstances. We survived different relationships. You survive so many different things. And I say survival on purpose. I am intentionally saying that word survive because it's a real phenomenon in our life. I said yesterday, and I believe it's worth repeating again, that Dion Kipping wrote the lyrical song "I Don't Look Like What I've Been Through," and that I believe that I live by that. I do believe that, but I also believe, and I had to revise it and really pay attention to this, that I don't look like what I'm going through. I don't look like you don't look like what you're going through. So many times we concentrate on what we have gone through, lived through, conquered through, survived. But there are things that are always pending in our lives. There are things that are always pending while we're lifing. There are things that are always ongoing while we're moving forward, while we're still assuming all the roles. Like I see people in our room who are men and who are women, who are husbands and who are wives, or who are would be wives, who are mothers, who are grandmothers, grandfathers. I see it. I see, and those are different roles right there. And then many of us have siblings, which is a different role. You have a role as the man or a woman. That's a role all by itself. Then you are a father. That's a parent. You have a parental role. Then you are a sibling or a son. Two more roles. Then you are an employee or employer, another role. Then you are a friend and confidant, other roles. And so these roles require their own uniqueness, and they come with their own set of joys and pains, or worries or concerns. They come with their own set of problems, or or solutions, however you want to put it. But each role has a specific mind or a specific culture or an identity. Each role has different tasks in each role. We can't mix up the role of a supervisor when you get home to your spouse or your significant other. If you were a supervisor at work, your spouse don't want that supervision when you get home. You better switch roles. You can't mess that role up. You have to know how to juggle and manage each role. And there's a psychology to each role, right? And so that being said, let's go into what it means to be hypersensitive, because we are really in an hour where the word narcissism has been thrown out there. We are really out there with this word narcissism. We This is a word that is used a lot. This is a word that is it's a band-aid to a lot of people to label somebody as narcissistic or narcissistical traits, or some people just have people as straight up, completely narcissist, right? In their relationships with their significant others, their husbands, wives, or their boyfriends, girlfriends, with their siblings. And so let's further deeply delve into that word. Is there anything that anybody want to say, Pastor Joel, when I hear the word narcissism, what comes to your mind? What, Ron or Letitia, Anasia, what comes to your word, the mind, your definition of what it means to be narcissistic? Can you come off the microphone if you are in the position to talk? Can you please lend support or commentary to where we are. This word narcissism, if you have a moment, if you can speak to it, what it identifies as, what does it mean? Because we're living in this hour where this is a widely used word, a widely used word, and I want to. Um, Add some commentary and strength to it because I do believe that there are hundreds of thousands of millions of people who teeter totter in and out of narcissistical traits, narcissistical ways. And mind you, this is not a mental disorder. Narcissism is not mental, it's more personality. It is not mental disorders. Mental disorders, I believe that there is a a scientific drug treatment that can help curve people who are struggling with any level of mental disorder. I do believe in the science of medicine, the science of all those particulars. I do believe when growing up in Pentecostalism and holiness and apostolic, the churches that I fellowship with and the churches that my pastor fellowship with, we were so spiritual minded. We everything was it was so prone to any level of spirituality. If you took any medication for anything, you weren't as believing, or your faith wasn't as active. And that's the environment that I grew up in, and it hindered me in a lot of ways because I firmly believe that whatever we don't understand or you don't understand, you have the tendency to be against. You'll speak against something that you did not fully assess. You'll have a impartial view on it. You'll have an impartial perspective about it because you did not take the time to understand. Wisdom is the principal thing, but in all thy getting of wisdom, get understanding along with wisdom, right? You have toothpaste, you have lotion. They can look alike if they come out the tube the same way. They can. They can have the same the same continuity, the same flow. You can have all that, right? Some lotions are very, very thick, and toothpaste is very, very thick. But if you don't know the difference, you will call toothpaste lotion or lotion toothpaste just by looking at it. But if you was to taste it or smell it, you can tell the difference, right? Wisdom gives you the ability to know that that's toothpaste and that's lotion. Now, understanding tells you what toothpaste is used for and what lotion is used for, even though they both have the same look, feel, or continuity. But the smell and the purpose are different, right? You can't get ash off with, you probably can get ash off with some toothpaste. Maybe, maybe not. All right. But the point I'm making is just understanding the difference between wisdom and understanding. You need both. Right, they are married, they are coupled together, right? And so, having said that, let's deal with this word narcissism. What does it mean to be narcissistic? Let me give it to you from a biblical perspective. I want to lead with that. Second Timothy 3 and 2. He tells us that in the last days, men, women will be lovers of themselves. Boom, I just dropped the mic. We're in that hour, and where you can internalize everything. Someone have the opportunity and the growth of becoming narcissistic. You just don't become narcissistic or self-centered overnight. This is an ongoing, this starts many times in childhood. This starts many times in the disparity of our childhood. This is when it started. This is when many of us, many people had the opportunity, because you must understand that error grows with distance, error increases with time. That negative credit report didn't just happen overnight, Pastor Joel. It didn't just happen, Letitia, overnight. It took you to buy something, purchase something, be it with a credit card, be it a car, whatever it may be, and then intentionally or unfortunate happen in our lives that it's caused us to not respond with paying off that debt. Now it comes on our credit, our Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, however it is, and now it shows up negative. But they giving time to make it right before they reported it as negative. So it took time to become a certain way or a certain feeling or for certain habits to form. It takes time. You just didn't become that beautiful overnight or that handsome overnight. It took time. You had to evolve, right? And it's the same with certain traits, certain personality disorders left untreated, left undiagnosed, left to oneself to figure it out. This is why when we talk about communication, we do a good segment about communication and the difference between black, white, and gray. Right? Black, hot, cold, or gray, right? There is, or lukewarm, right? Hot, cold, lukewarm, black, white, gray, right? So these are the metaphors or the allegories that I often use that helps you to understand and to process in effective communication. I had to learn this. I didn't always know this, and I'm still practicing this. I'm still ever learning. I'm still ongoing in my discovery of you should let your yay be yay or your nay be nay. Let yes be yes, no, no. Or maybe I can, maybe I can. I'm unsure. You are clear with your communication. You're not leaving it out there for someone to try to figure out. Because when you do not, and when I'm not, and when not clear in our communication, or unresponsive, or when we ghost people, whenever it is, whatever we don't respond to, the person that is waiting for a response can formulate their own opinion, their own view, their own concept, what took place, and they can forge their own idea of why you did not, or why you're not, or why you are. So when you are intentional with being forward, confrontational, and I love that word confrontation because it is really a healthy word. It is really a part of who we are and what we should be doing and understanding how powerful it is to respond and how confrontation really is really being courageous. I want you to look at being confrontational as really being having courage. Um, to say that that doesn't work for me, or to communicate your emotion or communicate your feelings. So some people will look at and deem you as being confrontational, as being egregious, or just being a bully, or just saying what you want to say. When the reality is, when you confront and you can speak your mind and heart and you can say it in a nice way, you can text it in a good way. However, it's a response. You can respond to someone, whatever it may be. You're taking the courage to tell them how you feel. You're taking the courage to say, I can't. I know I said I can give you 500, but I can't give you 500. I can only give you 100. I know I said I can give you $50, but I can only give you 10. Or I can't do it all. Instead of shutting down, not returning a call, or whatever it may be, taking the courage to renegotiate, taking the courage to respond. Okay, I spent a lot of time with that, and I will talk about that again. But really, really, really dealing with what it means to be stay on task, Marshall. Okay, I will. What it means to be narcissistic. Many times it starts at a young age. Hey, what's up, sis Marshana? KK. It starts at a young age. When someone has narcissistical traits that have evolved into full-blown narcissism, it started at a young age. It's two dynamics here. It's true. We're going to talk about the hypersensitive measure of what it means to. Can you be in a relationship with a narcissistic person? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can. It's voluntary. You can, though, because the narcissistic person has already made you aware that it's about them. So if you're in it, you're volunteering. They're not forcing you. You're 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 acutely aware, oh God, that they are self-centered. Now, in growing up in, or how I said it started, anyone who has any level of narcissistical traits, in many cases, this is just one perspective to look at it, right? There's so many other ways to see this and to understand it, but I chose this particular metaphor and understanding of what it means to grow into narcissism, right? You had two extremes. Either there was someone who had a lot of attention when they were growing up. They were either the he Madonna or she Madonna or prima donna or me Madonna. They were mom, dad, apple of their eyes. They were the princess of the family. They did no wrong, whether they were light skinned, whether they were pretty, whether they were deemed pretty or talented or gifted or skills. Many times the parent, grandparent, godparent had a lot to do with creating a little monster, and so that they're spoiled rotten. Everything was always about them. This is everything was about them. They had the best of everything. They were able to get away with stuff. Either they were a single or only child, right? And they were able to say and do what they wanted to say and do. That was the forming and the formation of that particular personality. They were that one that was so used to. Mom, dad treated them differently. There are people who are listening to this right now who had to watch this and survive this. And then there are people who are listening who this was you. This was how you had it, right? And so let me just put this out there, because I've been teaching that we've been hearing these colloquial terms, phrases: you eat the meat, spit out the bones. If it doesn't apply to you or me, I'm not going to take it. I'm just going to take what applies to me. Well, I beg to differ about that. I believe that anytime there's a lesson, anytime there's a didactic, anytime there is a teaching on something, you should take it all in, even though it does not apply to you. Why I say that? Because it gives you more empathy when you go around people and you can identify that in them. Not that you're self-diagnosing or you're diagnosing anybody, but it's good to know that, okay, that sounds familiar. I can identify, okay, I heard this before, and I can identify this in this particular person. I get it now. Now there's a level of understanding that comes to you. There's a level, okay, of how you can navigate you around them. You're not making this about you, but this is about your sobriety, your discipline when you're around them. Even though you're not them, even though what has been said, it helps you further understand. That's the power of testimony. That's the power of your witness. There are testimonies that you've heard that you didn't go through, you didn't experience, but you were wowed and wooed by their experiences. And then you so happen to come around somebody who may be in that same circumstance, in that same situation. You now can take their testimony and give it to that person, even though you didn't experience it. That's eating everything, eating the meat and the bone. Don't spit the bone out, put the bone. I ain't saying that you can crunch it up and all that other stuff. In other words, what I'm saying is that sometimes we disregard things that have nothing to do with us or what we haven't experienced. But you have no idea when you're going to experience it through somebody you love, or when you're going to experience it in general. You have no idea. So it's needful to take and consume as much information as you possibly can. You cannot, or you should not, if I may, right? Just disregard information or someone's circumstance because you have not gone through that, right? Right. This helps you to be more and more empathic. Right. Now, so when we talk about that extreme of someone who was spoiled rotten, we understand that term. When someone was spoiled, that's one dynamic of what creates narcissistical traits, or when someone becomes a full-blown narcissistic person. Again, this is a personality disorder. This is not a mental disorder. This is totally different. This is not mental. This mental you can treat with some form of medication. Yes, you can. I do believe. in that, right? And I believe, however, whatever medication one may be on to help them cope, I believe some is short term, mid term, long term. However it is, however it works, many times what happens is that people tell too much of their business. Everybody should not know what's going on in your life, what you use to remedy you, right? It just, especially if it's legally prescribed, right? I'm not talking about something that you have to take through your nose and your vein and you're taking it legally. No, I'm not talking about those particulars, or something that you take as alcohol consumption in that particulars, because there's a lot of red flags. There are a lot of damage that you can do to yourself if you are that man or that woman that is struggling or challenged, or you need something from the wine and spirit shop or liquor store slash package store to help calm your nerves. Sometimes you can be a functioning alcoholic, and I am very, very, very sensitive to that, which we will talk about another time. So that extreme is one extreme, when somebody has been given every single thing. You can be in a poor environment, grow up poor, grew up on welfare, but yet that little spoiled, rotten brat can still manifest, still be grown, homegrown, spoiled in a welfare system. I've seen it. Entitled in a welfare system, in a house that did not have much, but favor was still given. You had to do your brother and sister's chores. You had to go extra for them. You were the one that had to raise your brother and sister. You were the one that was blackballed. You were the one that may have had a child early on and out of wedlock, and you were then labeled, however it was, you were blackballed, right? You but others was given grace. Other family and friends were given grace, was given time and chance, and without prejudice. But you were brought up the hard way, and so you've seen that spoiled person, that rotten person, that entitled person grow. And so, because they had the seed of that, because they were used to that, they they grew up with that. What do you do when that spoiled, rotten, entitled person takes on a whole identity of his own? That whole dysfunction is now grown. That whole dysfunctional mindset is now fully grown. Have a spouse, have children, have a career. What do you do when that person who was born into privilege, even though they were, because being born into privilege doesn't mean just money or riches and wealth. Born into privilege is meaning that you were the center of attraction. That's what you know. That's what you're used to, and you're full grown now. And then the other side, and the flip side of narcissism, watch this, the flip side of it all, watch this, of being narcissistic. Good morning to you. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm excited. The flip side of narcissism, the other side, or the other extreme of it is that you didn't get much of attention at all. You didn't not get a lot of it. You did not get, you seen that person get an extreme amount of attention. You've seen it, and you had to fight and fend for yourself. You had to push yourself through. You had to push yourself through working hard, working extra. And now that person comes to his or her own. They are fully developed. They are looking good, shopping good, eating good, dressing good, driving good, and they have learned to fend for themselves. This is the other extreme. They have come to their own. They were once the ugly duckling of the family, once the black sheep of the family, once the one that was ostracized and kicked out and wasn't embraced. But now they came to their own. They come to their own. Now they're holding their own. Now there's a sense of pride, a sense of accomplishment, rightfully so. Rightfully so, and you should be proud of that if you survived a very, very tumultuous childhood where you were the second, the third, never recognized, never affirmed, never pat on the back. You did what you needed to do to get accepted, to get mom and dad's approval, but yet you were still overlooked. That person is now developed. That person is now, their dysfunctions, their bitterness, their hate, their anger, their resentment is full grown now. It may be suppressed, but it's there in many cases. So I thought I'd break down these two extremes of narcissism. What caused this person or person to be that way? There has to be and should be, to the best of your abilities, a level of assessment. I wonder what was it that caused them to be this way. What caused it? Not that you're that into their life. It should be a concern of yours if you are in a full-fledged relationship with that person. If you're interested to that with that person, if that son or daughter is your son or daughter, right? If that is your relative and you have to see them, you have to be around them, you love them, and you're in community with them. Whether so, it's good to have an understanding as to. I wonder what was it that's causing this. There's cause and effect that's hidden. This is why we were teaching on when we talk about the five emotional or trauma responses. Actually, there's seven trauma responses: the fight, flight, fawn, freeze, flop, fine, and forget. Right. So when we talk about the seven trauma responses, many times the fine or the fawn are the two that is married and closely related. The fawner is the person who is a people pleaser and they want to make everybody happy. They go over and above. They give more of themselves. They let people in that should not be in, unqualified to be in, have not earned their space. They give of their time, their resources. They give of their talent, their treasure, their money. Treasure meaning money. They'll give all these particulars, and when it's not reciprocated back, they are devastated. That's when the fine come in. Fine meaning they would say, I'm okay, I'm all right, I'm not mad, I'm not hurt, when they aren't okay, when they are mad, when they are hurt, when they are disappointed. They'll cover it up by saying, I'm fine, when you're not. So when we talk about narcissism and hypersensitivity and what that looks like, the hypersensitive person, the person, and I'm going to identify some things that we are around and that many of us are going through. The hypersensitive narcissistic person or the hypersensitive person, it is borderline, if not narcissism, because that person makes everything about them. That person makes everything about them. Hypersensitive people have a talent for finding ways to get offended. They have a talent or a knack for finding ways to get offended. They assume every comment, every glance, every like shady look or action is secretly about them. This is a hypersensitive, very sensitive. Volatility is going on in them, right? Right? This isn't intuition, it's insecurity. If you're around somebody or if you are hypersensitive, it is not an intuition. It's not you, oh, they don't like me. Oh, everybody, they always want me. They're jealous. They're coming at me. Oh my God. It's my mom, my sisters, my brothers. Nobody like me. Everybody want to be me. No, there's an insecurity going on in that person, or if not you, if you're that person that I'm talking to. And I'm not talking to you in a dreadful or insensitive way. This is a serious matter. I do not, and I will not, as a coach, as a pastor, as a friend, make light of what it is and joke about a serious matter. I don't. Empathy is in this room. I am so sensitive, just to let you know. I may sound very hype because that's how I get at times, but I want you to understand. I value every person's challenge or struggle. We do not clown things. We do not make light of it. We do not dumb it down. We are sensitive to where people are. I had to learn that. You want to know why I'm sensitive to where people are? Because Christ is. Christ is sensitive, right? So understanding that they assume every comment, every glance, every look, everything or action is secretly about them. And I told you, and I told you, this is not, hey Chris, how you doing, son? This is not intuition. In many cases, it's insecurity, because deep down they dislike themselves, or they're challenged with accepting themselves. They look for proof that others do too. They're looking to confirm. They need that affirmation and that confirmation. Oh, they cut me off. I know. Mhm. This gives them a sense of being right, a sense of being secure in their own thoughts. There's no accountability there. So a hypersensitive person, they look for ways to get offended, look for reasons to get offended. Any little thing will give them justification of their action, of them withdrawing, of their an inability to accept their responsibility. Right? They look for it. They need a reason. Now they do. I walked by them and they didn't speak. I wonder what's up with her now. What's up with him now? Who they talk to? Mm, This is a real phenomenon that's going on in us. Some of us have to track and identify this. If that's you right now, I'm not saying that you're hypersensitive and that you're narcissistic. I'm saying that error increases with time. What's in you that's causing this? That's causing or bringing this up. That's the power of tracking you. These sessions here in our mental wellness, the wellness is not about you getting tools and ammunition to go after somebody who dislike you. This is about you discovering you, taking ownership of you, taking ownership of how you are, how you respond. This is about you giving yourself your own MRI, your own CAT scan, your own ultrasound. It's about you identifying, why did I feel that way? Why am I angry now? Why? After you leave that person, after you get off the phone with the person, after you thought about the person, and all of a sudden they're not even there. They're in a whole nother city, state, country, world, or even dead. But a feeling just caused you to change your mind or come over you. What is it? Why did that bother me? I often tell you that I had to grow to the point in identifying William. Pastor Joel, you heard me say it. Letitia, you heard me say it so many times, and I feel that it's worth repeating. I was a deflector. I was a projector. I blamed. I ran. I hid. I did all those things in my relationships. I did all those things with my children. I did those things as a brother to my siblings. As I did all those things as a coworker. I did all those things as a boss. I did all those things as a pastor. I deflected, projected, ran, blame, hid, threw stones. All the fight, flight, fawn, freeze, find, flop. I was all those things until I learned the power of being uncomfortable. There is a value, Lamisha, of being uncomfortable, of being uncomfortable. Hey, woman of God, of being uncomfortable. There is a value. Anytime somebody, this is the power of you coming into grips with you. We were teaching yesterday about the power of silence, the power and the confidence that comes when you don't respond to everything. Everything don't deserve your response. Everything don't deserve your time. And so the power of settling in and hearing you. I was able to see me when I worked through the pain of being uncomfortable about what was being said to me about me. When I was able to see it from their perspective, when I was able to see it through their lens, when I was able to hear it through their and filter it through their, I was able to get help for William by helping William by not running. So your uncomfortability with oneself that's going on in you is the sign. They are triggers. They are indicators that something is going on with you. If you have diarrhea right now, I'm not going to feel it. You feel it. If you have an upset stomach right now, I don't feel it. No one else in the room feel it. Your boo, your bae, your son, your daughters, your mama, your daddy don't feel it. It's going on in you, right? Whatever pain that is ailing you, it's going on in you. And when one thing about pain, pain will alarm us. Pain will tell us that something's wrong. But our mental pain, we suppress. We'll respond to a headache with some Advil, some Tylenol, some ibuprofen. Yes, we will. We'll go to the doctors in the media real quick. We'll try to remedy that thing. We'll go over the counter, under the counter. We'll make stuff happen when we are in traumatic physical pain. But our traumatic mental pain will suppress it. We'll deflect. We'll run. We'll blame. We'll hide. We'll project. We will. I'm speaking from experience, and I have empathy for any man and any woman and sympathy for any person that is still struggling with that, because there's a difference between physical pain. We'll go to the ER, ED doctor in a minute. You let something get in your eye, you let something, any part of your body, we're going to that specialist. If it's a bone, we're going to the chiropractor. If it's a ENT, ear, nose, throat, we're going to that specialist, right? Yes, you is. Not yes, you are. Yes, you is. You're going to get the help for the car. If it's the transmission, you're not going to get oil change. You're going to a transmission specialist. You're going to the dealership. Whatever it is, you are going to get it. But when it comes to your mind, your traumas, we are challenged with dealing with us. And one of the greatest gifts that you can give yourself is when you can sit through your uncomfortability, when you can hear it, and somebody who loves you, care for you, can tell you, you got this trait, you're this, you're that. And I'm like, I used to deflect. Oh my goodness, you came to me with something about me. I had about five in the chamber. I'm ready. I'm locked and loaded because I'm gonna get you too. That's how it was. But until I learned the value of processing, like, oh, I am that way. Damn. Did I say damn? I said damn. Oh my God, I am that way. Will, you're a mess. William, you were projecting, deflecting, running, blaming, hiding. I didn't know the value. Now, didn't teach me that. Whoa, the conference, the shut-in, the speaking in the unknown tongue, the church settings. I love it. I teach now. I teach differently now. I'm so sensitive, different now. But at growing up and all that, that was good. But it didn't. It taught me how to dance over it, how to shout over it, how to speak in tongues over it. But the real rubber that meets the road is when I'm by myself after church, after the church community gather, after on Monday, on Tuesday, because that same problem is going to keep coming up. And it's now layered with childhood issues, childhood struggles. And so that narcissistic, hypertensive person, they are offended easy. And when you get offended, that's the time to now locate you. Why did this offend me? This is the start of it. This is the start of healing. When you can locate, why did that get me so mad? And I had to grow to the point where if somebody would say something that would tee me off, I'm now no longer concerned about who said it, why they said it. I'm more concerned about, why am I erupting like this? Why am I imploding? Why did this get under my skin? Why does this bother me? I am tracking what's going on in me, not them. That's the value of uncomfortability. Uncomfortability are signals. All right, there's signals that something is flickering in you, something's going on in you. Now, when we talk about the hypersensitive or the hypersensitive person, because hypersensitivity is really, really, really connected to that narcissistical person. They find ways to feel offended, find ways to feel that she, he, they don't like me, right? Because of an action, a nonverbal cue, body language. Oh, she switched up when I walked in the room. Didn't say nothing. And these are real truths that are going on, right? But this not is not about them. This is about you, the individual person. They cannot take feedback. A narcissistical person, in many cases, or a hypersensitive person, is challenged with any level of confrontation. They cannot take feedback. They don't care what you're trying to express. That narcissistic, hypersensitive person does not care about your feelings. I don't care how you slice it, dice it, boil it, bake it, fry it, how many angles you come from, how many translations you give. You can give it in Spanish, you can give it in English, in Greek, Hebrew, Chaldean. You can give it in all the native African tongues. It doesn't make it. They don't care about what you're trying to express. They only care about how it makes them feel. Now, they had a long time to become this way. They had a long time without any level of accountability. That person who have grew up in narcissistic traits, either they got a lot, had a lot, or they didn't have much, but they came into their own. And now they're their own gods. They're their own accountability. I did it by myself. I always did it by myself. Watch this. And so I'm going to continue to do it. So they have no accountability. You can develop skills, talents, and abilities by yourself. You can. You can become a great singer, a great actor, a great beauticianist, a great barber, a great photographer, a great computer analysis, a great preacher, teacher. You can become great in all those particular sports, guy, baseball, football, any level of sports, male or female. You can become that. But when it comes to character, when it comes to accountability with your actions, you need people. People to people helps bring more accountability to you. You can't do it by yourself. We develop our character with people. Iron sharpening iron. And guess what? That is a violent act. That scripture in Proverbs, when it talks about that iron sharpens iron, so does a man slash woman sharpen the countenance of their friend. That is a hard, ooh, that is two things, two pieces of metal coming together. You know how it is to sharpen something? That is friction. It hurts. And it's not a cute scripture. When you're hitting two pieces of metal or metal to stone, there's sparks flying, chips flying, emotions flying, feelings everywhere, because it hurts to be confronted. It hurts to be challenged. And that hypersensitive person does not like being challenged. They make everything about them. Even gentle feedback feels like an attack to them. Even gentle. I mean, you said it and you dumbed yourself down, or they're dumbing themselves down to you. Even gentle feedback feels like an attack. They don't want the truth. They want reassurance. And if you don't give it up, they will overreact. This is what a hypersensitive person who's already challenged with narcissism will do. Everything hurts, everything offends. I'm gonna say that again. Even gentle feedback feels like an attack to them. Gentle feedback. I was there. I was on my way. Yes, I was. But I'm grateful because now I can receive all levels of critique. Now your opinion don't matter about me. Whatever someone thinks about me, I process it and I'm like, oh well, if I want your opinion, I'll give it to you, right? But I do have accountability. I'm able to identify myself, identify what's going on, because one of the greatest deliverance that you can ever get and experience is when you get delivered from the opinions of other people. And it can be people in your family, people in your tribe, people in your community, many times that they're the most hard on you. Watch this. All right. So that hypersensitive person makes everything about them. They offend easy. They overreact. And if you don't give them reassurance, they will overreact. If you don't give them the truth of what they want to hear, they will overreact. You have to become a fan. And when we talk about fan, you got to fan the ego. You got to fan the flame. You got to do all kinds of things. Listen, that's a lot of work. Now, one thing about it, I do not have any hypersensitive, narcissistical people in my life like that. I'm able to challenge my close friends. I'm able to challenge people who are in my immediate circle and community. Thank God, right? And they hold me accountable, right? So we cry, we hear, we can talk to each other about this, right? We can that's the iron sharpening iron. There are times we fall out. uh, my two best friends at the time, we will fall out, and for a day or two or for a week. All right. But that's the power of accountability, right? So a hypersensitive person, they hold grudges. Their emotions hijack their logic. Hypersensitive people, the narcissistical person hold a grudge. And they can hold a grudge and still smile at you, still pretend that everything is fine, that they're okay. But they will hold it because their emotions have hijacked their logic. Their feeling has hijacked their ability to reason, to assess fully, to hear any level of critique, to see they're wrong. I was in a relationship once with somebody who was full-fledged narcissistic, and she told me she was narcissistic, and she knew, highly intelligent. Told me, "Oh yeah, I know I am." My eyes opened up. I'm like, "Oh, dang!" They knew they were, and I thought it was brilliant. I'm like, so now I'm volunteering to stay in this. Can you be in a relationship with a narcissistic person or have hypersensitive? Yes, you can. You can stay there. You just got to know you will never be on the same level as them. Your feelings will never be number one, wouldn't be considered. It may eventually get some consideration, but not a lot. You will always be number two in them because everything is about them. You have to do so much work to secure them, and then you may get a crumb or a slice or a piece of time or consideration, but that's even held and it can be taken back. Been there, done that, got a t-shirt bumper sticker and a coffee mug. So you will never be number one. So now you're volunteering your time. You're volunteering. You are legitimately volunteering to stay in it. Nobody's forcing you. This is you volunteering. He gonna change, she gonna change. Okay. Narcissistical traits, when somebody know that they are narcissistic, the only one of the only ways they can get help, deliverance, and freedom is that they have to, number one, acknowledge that they are, and then acknowledge and submit to therapy to undo these years of becoming this way, these years, this much time. Oh God, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. So if you're in any type of community or relationship with somebody, know you're volunteering your time. If somebody is not committed to any level of therapy, I don't need therapy, you need therapy. Oh, you got the problem, not me. Oh, everything's about you, everything wrong with you, and I'm okay. No, it's you. In many cases, you should run. If you have a lot of equity involved in that, count your loss. Count it, unless you just want to continue to volunteer. That's your choice. Now, they can't see the situation through anyone else's lens or eyes but their own. They filtered through their own pain. That hypersensitive person is filtering through their own pain. Everything is about their pain. They see it through their pain, they hear it through their pain, no matter what you're saying, how you're saying, how logic it may be, they will rewrite it to fit their narrative. Somebody's in this right now. Somebody's going through this themselves right now as a narcissistic, hypersensitive person. I don't care what you say. They can't see it any other way. They see it through their own lens. And so I'm gonna say this because sometimes you may not be dealing with a narcissistic person. You may not be dealing with somebody who is full-fledged narcissistic, but they're hurt. And many times you are living with or in a relationship or related to the person who caused the damage, and that yet they're still there. You're trying to heal in an environment that caused the damage, that caused the trauma. It's tough. This is why at times recusing yourself, that's the power of differentiating you. To go that word again, of differentiation. It may be your community, it may be your family that 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 don't deal, don't want to deal, don't want to talk about it. We'll talk about that. That is, I want to deal with that word differentiate again, because that needs to be brought up and help you to understand you, right? All right. Differentiate literally means that the one of the key words in differentiate is different. So you know you're different. But when you differentiate, you understand why you're different. It's not enough knowing that you're different, but you now want to stay, be know the why to why you're different, and still be connected to that community, but not affected by it because you are now not better than looking down upon or snubbing, but you know how to manage you in that environment, right? Let me wrap this up. So they'll rewrite the story. They'll say, "You hurt me," instead of "We misunderstood each other." It'll be about, "No, you hurt me." Instead of, "No, there was a misunderstanding. There was some levels of immaturity. I dropped the ball." They don't want to hear that. "No, you hurt me." And because their feelings matter most, they stay angry, bitter, and to themselves. They stay angry, bitter, and mad. Wow. I said a lot today. It's 7 o'clock on the dot in my drop top. All right, I'm not going to do Usher today. But this is a real situation going on in our lives, right? This is a real situation going on in our community. And how has this, did anyone want to add to this or share in the comment as to how this, you can relate to this, you understand this, this may be you, this may be something that you're in the middle of. Can someone dare to share in your comment if you are led to share in any level of comment, or hit the mute button and come on and share what this means to you, how this you can relate to this. If you're that person, please take a moment to unmute or type in your comment, your commentary, your thought processes. Um, if you are that person, feel free to do it. If not, I'm grateful for the brand new week. This is the beginning of um, uh, the second the first Monday in November. And so I'm grateful for this time and this season. Listen, I want to encourage you that you are a force of mass destruction. One of the greatest fears of the enemy is for you and me to find out who we really are. The God kind of faith speaks those things that are not as though they were. Speak to your problems, speak to your crisis, put the word on it. Your mountain have ears and your mountain have feet. So try your level best to settle your spirit, right? To settle down and get into a place of quietness. I've been teaching on the power of quiet. And quiet means that you're settling you, and everybody don't need your commentary. Every single thing that's going on, there are enemies that's trying to pull you in and entrap you, to get you ensnared, to get your attention, to get you off focus. You, me, we must stay focused. The word tells us in Isaiah 30 and 15, quietness and confidence shall be your strength. quietness and confidence. When you know that you're not that's being said about you, that you didn't do that, that's being lied about you, stay quiet. You don't have to respond. Behave yourself, bring yourself, and bring discipline to yourself. Because you may be around people who are just as shady, grimy, and but your body language has to even be sober. Your nonverbal cues can give off that I don't like you and I'm insensitive or right, I'm uncomfortable. No, bring self discipline to your mind and your body. Everything around you has to remain sober. I'm not saying you shouldn't break down. Yes, you can have your moment, but not publicly, not around the enemy, not around shady and grimy people. Be careful with where you become too lucid with, too fluid around. All right. Um, the word tells us in Second Thessalonians 4:11, he says, study to be quiet, study to shut up. Study. That's a key word that you're going to be tested. Anytime you're studying for something, it's because there's a test coming up. And everybody don't deserve your feedback. Everybody don't deserve your presence, every single thing. And sometimes you can have unqualified people giving you advice and counsel. You can have unqualified voices around you. So be careful. I'm led to push this and to tell you about this because these are real things that's going on. Screen everything and everybody that you allow in. I pray that you clean your filters, your lenses, because sometimes we can see and hear through pain. We can see through our pain and we can hear when somebody's trying to tell us how they feel through pain. And so it never gets to the heart because the filter has to be clean. The air filters have to be clean. The EAR, which will perfect your AIR, right? And your lenses, how you see, how you view. This gives you, if you see it through God, if you see this opportunity or this mishap as God's lesson in it, God's trying to give you a word, I tell you, God's gonna keep you. He's gonna keep you. Listen, I love y'all. I love y'all. Tonight we will be back on for our Unpacked podcast. All right, from 7 to 8 to 7:45, 7 to 7:55. I'm sorry, Unpacked podcast. I love y'all. Um, have an amazing day. I'm looking forward to greatness. Looking for the greatness, and keep expecting God to do it. Blessings to you all.